Hey guys, my name is Brian Skinnane from secretsofsushi.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use the perfect amount of sushi rice. In this video I'm going to show you how to use the perfect amount of sushi rice by demonstrating the three most popular types of sushi in the United States. And I'm going to show you how to use the perfect amount of rice by using measuring cups. The first style of sushi I'm going to show you guys is called the uramaki, or the inside-out roll. To make the uramaki roll, you want to use a half sheet of nori, and you want to make sure that the rough side of the nori is face up and the smooth side is face down. To make this roll, we want to use 2/3 of a cup of rice, but since I don't have a 2/3 measuring cup, I'm going to use 2 scoops of a 1/3 measuring cup. So what you want to do is have a damp washcloth, and you're going to get the inside of the scoop slightly wet so that the rice doesn't stick to the inside. And you want to get your hand slightly wet, and you want to fill that scoop up with rice. And you want to make sure that the scoop is full and level, and you want to gently press down. You don't want to press down so much that you're actually smashing the grains of rice together, but you want to make sure you have enough that the measuring cup is full. So once you have that 1 scoop filled up, I want you to dump that into your hand and place it onto your cutting board. Next, I want you to do the same thing again, filling that second measuring cup up. Again, make sure that the scoop is nice and level, but you're not pressing down too much on the rice. So once we have both of those scoops, I'm going to set that measuring cup aside. I want you guys to pick up the amount of rice that you have on your cutting board, and what I want you to do is be able to visually recognize how much rice is in your hand, and also familiarize yourself with the amount of weight that is in your hand. So the reason why I'm having you do this is so you guys can eventually start to stop using the measuring cup altogether and just be able to pull out the perfect amount of rice each time. So once you have the 2 scoops in your hand, I want you to place them into the center of the nori. And you can, a lot of times the rice is going to stick to your hand, so you can kind of rinse it off in your bowl of water. Get your hands nice and damp. And then what I want you guys to do is slowly start to spread the rice from the center of the nori all the way out to all 4 edges. And you want to make sure that you're not pressing the rice into the nori, but instead you're more rolling the rice to each edge. And you want to make sure that the layer of rice is very consistent. Sometimes you may have clumps that you need to spread out. Sometimes you may have gaps where you'll have to pull rice from one side of the piece of nori and put it on a different area. But as you can see, this is the perfect amount of rice to go on an uramaki roll. And I want you guys to make a special note of how there are some small pieces of nori that you can still see through the rice, and that the entire layer is not perfectly white. If it is perfectly white, then that generally means you've used too much rice, and that layer of rice is going to be too thick, which is going to kind of dilute the flavor from the ingredients on the inside. Now, once you guys have this done, I want you to take a visual note of the end product, and then you can go ahead and repeat this process over and over again. And the end goal here is so that once you have a good feeling for how much is the perfect amount of rice to use, which is, I think on average about 4 or 5 times from making uramaki rolls, then what you can do is start to slowly take the measuring cup away. So maybe about every other time you make it, you can simply just grab the amount of rice out of your rice container, and again, visually recognize and kind of familiarize yourself with that weight, and then apply it to the rice. And remember, when in doubt, measure it out. So if you feel like you're using too much rice or using too little rice, you can always bring those measuring cups back and kind of measure to see how much more or how much less you need to actually be picking up with your hand. The second style I'm going to show you guys is called the hosomaki roll, or the skinny roll. And just like the uramaki roll, you want to use a half sheet of nori. I'm going to place it horizontally, but this time we're going to be using 1/2 of a cup of rice. So again, get your wet washcloth, Slightly dampen the inside of the measuring cup so the rice doesn't stick. And you're going to fill that measuring cup with rice, making sure that the measuring cup is indeed full, that it's level. And you press down just gently enough to make sure you're filling the entire measuring cup. Then you can scoop that into your hand. Now, once you have the amount of rice in your hand, again, I want you guys to kind of visually identify and kind of familiarize yourself with the weight of the rice that's in your hand. And then again, place it in the center. Now, unlike the udamaki roll, we're actually going to be leaving a little bit of the nori exposed at the top, maybe about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch, or maybe about 1.5 centimeters. So again, we're going to roll the rice from the center to all 4 of the edges, trying to make the layer of rice as consistent as possible. And there we have it. Now again, you want to leave this top area exposed because the udamaki roll has the ingredients on the inside, the rice on the inside, and the nori on the outside. And we want to leave this exposed so that we can get this very wet and roll it together so that it sticks to the other side of the nori. The third style of sushi that I'm going to show you guys is called the futomaki roll, or the fat roll. So unlike the 2 previous rolls, the nori is going to be oriented vertically. Again, rough side up, smooth side down. And just like the hosomaki roll, we're going to be using 1/2 cup of rice. So get your hands slightly wet, fill that 1/2 cup of rice up, making sure that it's a nice level scoop, and then you press down just a little bit. Then again, you can plop that into your hand. Be sure to take your visual cue, familiarize yourself with the weight, and then again, we're going to put it right in the center of the nori. You get your hands slightly wet again, and then we're going to roll it out to the edges. But this time, we're going to leave about 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters of the nori exposed at the very top. And you want to make sure the rice goes all the way to the 3 edges, and that you can still see a little bit of the nori in between the rice. Again, the reason why the nori is exposed is so that whenever we're rolling the futomaki roll, that we can get the top part of the nori wet, and then it will adhere to itself whenever it wraps around on the inside. It's also important to note that normally the futomaki roll, or the futomaki, I shouldn't say roll twice because that's what maki means. So I should note that the futomaki is traditionally done with a full sheet of nori. But in this example, I'm only using a 1/2 sheet, so this will be considered a 1/2 futomaki. To make a full futomaki roll, if you have store-bought 1/2 sheets, you can simply place 2 1/2 sheets on your mat like so. Or if you cut your sheets of nori in half like I do, then you can just simply use a full sheet, and then again, instead of using 1/2 cup of rice, you use 1 cup of rice to cover the whole thing. So as a quick review, I showed you guys how to use the perfect amount of sushi rice using the 3 most common styles of sushi found in the United States. Now, if you want to find recipes on how to utilize these 3 styles of sushi, you can visit my website at secretsofsushi.com. My name is Brian Skeene from secretsofsushi.com, and that's how I roll.